Welcome to Gospel Worship Academy. Today we're going to go over, left hand options. What can you do with your left hand to get a bigger sound, to get a more fuller sound? Other than, just if you've been following my tutorials, I've just been intentionally keeping it simple, teaching you the triads to get you going and playing songs. And then, even teaching you how to use piano shortcuts, slash chords, etc. But okay, you're now able to start playing your triads pretty well. You got your inversions down, you got your piano shortcuts down. So what else can you do to improve your sound so it doesn't sound so thin, and also to get a more fuller sound? So today we're just going to go over some options, left hand options that you can utilize to get a more fuller sound. So let's go. All right. What's up, guys? So today we're going to just cover the left hand options as stated. So for the left hand, right, you can pretty much use these for pretty much any major or minor chords. Okay. So I intentionally, teach my students to just focus on one hand to, learn your triads, especially the right hand, learn your triads really well, learn your inversions really well, and then learn the piano shortcuts really well. So once you got that down, then we start to focus on the left hand, trying to balance both the right hand and the left hand at times can be a bit challenging for my students. So, just keeping things simple. We focus on the right hand, make sure they're playing chords, they're playing songs, enjoying themselves, and then we like to then add left hand options to make your sound even better. All right. So how do we do that? So we're just gonna look at, again, we're gonna keep it simple in the key of C major today, right? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. Great. So we'll focus on the C major chord here, right? So remember, every chord, there's a triad, right? It has a 1. So in other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, right? But then a triad is just a 1, 3, 5. Your C, E, G. Okay. So for the left hand, what we're gonna do so that you get a fuller sound on the left hand is that we're actually gonna take away the 3, right? So the third interval, we take it out, so you get just a 1, 5, 1, 5, and then we're going to transfer this in our right hand, the 1, 5 option. We're going to transfer the first interval, so we're going to transfer the root, the first interval, and the fifth interval of the chord, and we're going to transfer that from the right hand into the left hand. There you go. So that's how we get this shape here, 1 and 5 in the left hand. And here, I intentionally want you to use your pinky on the left hand, and then use your index, your pointer on the left hand, right, to play the fifth interval. Sometimes you can use sometimes you can use your thumb, but intentionally you'll see in a few seconds why, right? But so for now, try to use your pinky to play the root of the chord, right? If you're playing C, and then use your index, the pointer, to play the fifth interval, just like this. All right, so try to do that in the left hand, right? So, and then we're gonna add the triad. We'll add the triad now in the right hand. And then listen to that sound versus just the bass like this. So compare that sound to this sound. So this is called a 1, 5 option here in the left hand. All right, great. And then one other thing we're going to do here is, so I want you to practice moving. When you play the 1 chord, you should be able to do this in the left hand. And then when you play the 2 chord, we'll find the same thing, the first and the fifth interval in the left hand. So let's do the 2 chord as a quick example as well. So for the 2 chord, D minor will take away the third interval, right? 1, 3, 5. Take away the third, so the F is out, and then we keep the B and the A. All right, great. And that's how we get the first, the 1, 5 in the left hand as well. So right, so when you play the 2 chord, okay, so listen to that sound versus just the bass, right? Okay, so 1, 5 for the 2 chord in the left hand. We're gonna also do that for the 3 chord, the E minor. So this is the triad here. 1, 2, 5. Take away the 3. and then we're left with the 1/5 in that chord. So okay, so that's for the E minor. This is the 1/5 for that. All right, and then for 4 major, this is the triad in the left hand. That would take away the 3rd, and then here's the fingering and the 1 and 5 for the F major. Okay, for the G major, the 5 chord, is the 1 3 5. We take away the 3rd interval. Here's your 1 5. All right, for the G major chord, and then for A minor, here's the 1 3 5. Here's the 1 5. Okay, and then for B diminished here, here's the 1 3 5, and then here's the 1 5. So we'll take away the 3rd. And here it is. All right, great. So you should now be able to do 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1. All right, so you should practice that. You know, even separately with just your left hand, get that really good, get comfortable hitting that. You don't want to accidentally hit, like, you know, the 4th interval when you're playing the C major. You don't want to do C F. You want to make sure you're hitting C and G, right? So for D, same thing. You don't want to accidentally hit the incorrect interval, the 5th interval. So make sure you're hitting the 1st and 5th interval, right? So keep practicing like this until it's pretty good. Good. And then once you have it pretty good, you should be able to even play songs just with just the left hand voicing like this, right? So even, for example, Yahweh, we bow down and worship, right? For Yahweh, right? We bow down and worship Yahweh. All right, so you should be able to play songs like that, right? Even just the left hand. And then when you're able to do that, we bow down and worship Yahweh. We bow down and worship Yahweh. All right, great. So that's you know, that's the first option, the 1 5 interval in the left hand. And then the second option I want you to, you know, jot down, make sure you memorize this as well, is the 1 5 1. We're just gonna add the octave, right? So if you're playing C major, you want to get an even bigger, fuller sound, we're gonna use the same 1 5 intervals, and we'll add the octave C. So C, C, right? And then we add, maybe you use, because of you know, keyboard real estate here, if you're losing it, just go to the next inversion of the C major, and then now you start to really get a bigger sound, right? And this is exactly how gospel pianists, a lot of the keyboards, like to play, right? We bow down and worship Yahweh. All right, so here 1 5 1, and then we'll do that same thing for the 2 chord, right? So 2, so D, A, and then add the octave of D here. So let's try it for E minor. So 1 5 1 is the first interval, 5th interval, and this is the octave, so E, E, and then the 5th interval here, right? For F major, here's the same 1 5 1. Okay, for the G major, here is 1 5, and then here's the octave of G, 1. And then for A minor, we have the 1 5 1. Great. And then for B diminished, we have B, F, B. All right, so you should also practice that, right? Just on the left hand, all right? So C major, 1, 2 D minor, E minor 3, F major 4, G major 5, okay, A minor 6, D diminished 7, back to C major 1, okay. All right, great. And then, use that to practice another song, right? Any song. Like, so we bow down and worship Yahweh. All right, so notice here that I'm starting to even mix the 1/5 and then the octave in my playing. And that just comes by just, playing songs with it. And then when you're running out of space, if you're trying to use the 1/5/1, right, 1/5 octave option, and then if you're going, for example, you're going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, right? So if I'm using this inversion in the right hand, the 1 and worship, so you can just use the next option that works in the left hand, right? And that just comes by just playing a lot. You get used to it, right? So sometimes you want to do this, and then you can't do that because your right hand's already there. And sometimes you can, if it is, you want to even use your, if you want to share the notes, you can also do that as well. All right. So notice I took my thumb out on the right hand here, right? All right. So then the third option that I also wanted to show here is that I want you all to memorize for the left hand options is going to be just the octaves. All right, great. If you're playing C, if you're playing C major, you should just be able to play the octave tri. I know, if you're very young, you're still learning. That's fine. If you can at least try to do the 1/5. If your fingers are not big enough, try to at least try to do the 1/5 if possible. Okay. And then if you're very little, or you're still, it's cool to learn the piano when you're still young. It's always great. And if your fingers are still too small, that's fine. What you can do is, if you can't do 1/5 with your index here, then it's okay to use your thumb, right? And as you're growing and as you get bigger, your fingers are gonna grow, hopefully. Right, it will grow. All right, but just to give you some options, you're not stuck if you can't do what I'm doing here. You got options. You can still split it like this, right? Great. And then, for like the really young kids, if you're 5, 6, 7, and you still can't do this, that's fine. What you could do is, try it. Can you do 1/3 in the left hand? Okay, and that one you can do it maybe just your pinky and the third. But that's like this, but this option is more like if you can't. This is not really an option I'm really pushing for this tutorial, but if you can't do 1/5, then 1/3 is also okay. Okay, all right. So the main option, the third option here, is the octave. Great. So the octave here, we should be able to do that for every one of the 7 chords, right? So your C major, be able to play an octave in the left hand. This is where we want to be, right at. Okay, and then D, you play D octave, E minor octave, F major octave in the left hand, G major octave in the right hand, A minor octave in the right hand, and then B diminished octave, right? So if you're playing C major, notice now you can add your octave. We bow down and worship Yahweh, Yahweh. So just moving here so I can show you other notes as well. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. So the G major, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. All right. So, now you got 3 options that you can now utilize in your left hand. You got the 1/5 option. You got the 1/5/1 option. Whenever you play triads, piano shortcuts / chords in the right hand, and then you also have the octave, right? So those are your main 3: 1/5, 5. So those are your main three. 1 5, 1 5 1, and then the octaves. Okay, great. So those are the left hand options. I hope it's gonna take your piano playing to the next level, and definitely start to practice these independently first in your left hand, and then try to do it for every chord as demonstrated, and then try to then combine the left hand and the right hand playing together, and then also try to mix it up as well. Right? Sometimes it's okay to just use a bass note, and that's fine. If that's the thing that comes to your mind quickly, it's fine to use a single bass note as well. All right. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Definitely be on the lookout for more tutorials coming your way, and hope this has been a blessing to you. Stay tuned for more.